Today's topic is motivation. I don't know about you, but I'm really motivated. I love this stuff. Motivation is really interesting because it deals with psychology, what gets people to do the things that they do. Well, there's been a lot of theories about motivation. And the reason is a lot of people get PhDs in psychology. You want to get a PhD in psychology, well, you got to have a theory, and so there's thousands probably of theories of motivation. We're going to look at some, though, that have stood the test of time, that people generally believe are useful. Now, traditionally, one of the oldest ones was Taylor. Taylor said, well, people are motivated by money. Remember Taylor, pay for performance. And I'll bet you know people that would do almost anything for the right amount of money. That doesn't mean it's necessarily good, but we'll also find out that that's not necessarily the only reason that people get motivated. We can also look at the human relations approach, where we deal with the psychology. How do people feel important? Do they want to have control over the things they do? So let's get into these a little bit. One of the oldest theories of motivation is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Hopefully you talked about this in Intro to Business, or maybe you've had it in a psychology class. This is kind of a good thing, and I'll review it briefly. I've kind of have them in order of the needs in which they need to be satisfied. First, there's the physiological level. People talk about that typically as the lowest level. Sometimes you see this as a pyramid. I don't know why people like to draw pictures, but okay. So physiological, that needs of the physiological level are your shelter and food. You want to have shelter, you want to have food. If it's cold outside, you're not going to worry about anything else but finding shelter. If you're hungry, you haven't eaten in 3 days, you're going to want to get something to eat. You're going to satisfy that need. I don't know if you've ever watched the History Channel show Alone. First of all, it's an awesome show. But you'll find that these people that are put alone, the first things they got to do are find food. You're all by yourself, stuck someplace. You got to find food. You got to build yourself a shelter. Then you want security. Once you've mastered or satisfied that need, you want security. I want to be safe. I don't want somebody clubbing me and stealing my food. Again, in the show Alone, you don't want animals to come and take your food. You're worried about bears, maybe. Then you want to worry about belongingness. This is typically your social needs. I'll talk about social needs instead of belonging. But socially, you want to have friends. You want to be around people. I don't care about the social needs if I haven't eaten and if I'm not safe. I deal with those, and then I deal with social needs. Remember, this is a hierarchy. A hierarchy means there's an order to it. And these needs to be satisfied in this particular order. Then comes my self-esteem needs. I want to feel good about myself. Okay? Oh, back to belongingness. On Alone, people start to go nuts after a while and need people. But they don't worry about the people if they haven't eaten and they're not safe. Self-esteem, I want to feel good about myself. But again, I have to have those other needs satisfied first. And finally, we come to self-actualization. Self-actualization can be thought of as one way, the old Army slogan, be all you can be. Be the best you can be. If you're going to be an accountant, what's the best accountant you can be? What's the best auto mechanic you can be? Doesn't mean you're the best in the world, but it's the best that you can be. It also has to deal with social needs here. What you want to do is you're going to be a complete member of society. So what do businesses do to satisfy these needs? Well, physiological is typically pay. If I pay you, you can buy food and shelter. Security would be health insurance or even security at work. Social needs, well, company parties, company events. Self-esteem, Well, it would be Employee of the Month. Titles are a big thing. Titles are a cheap thing companies can give. We talked about that earlier. Self-actualization. What do businesses offer for self-actualization to be the best you can be? Well, one thing is training. I can give you training. Tuition reimbursement would be another. And if I'm talking about being a member of society, it could be contributing to charities. I might contribute to a charity as a business. I might match what you contribute as an individual to a charity. Maslow's hierarchy of needs has been around quite a while, and it does help explain a lot of things. The ERG theory extends that a little, but it basically groups it into 3 levels. The ERG is existence, relatedness, and growth. And it looks pretty much like Maslow. If you squint a little bit, the existence is the physiological insecurity, relatedness is the belongingness, and you could say the growth is esteem and self-actualization. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Hertzberg's two-factor theory has been around a while. Hertzberg said, well, not everything's really a motivator. And he put things into 2 categories. One is hygiene factors, and the other one is motivators. First, you want to take care of your hygiene factors. Hygiene factors are those things that you want or need, but they're not going to motivate you to do more. It's just that you're unhappy if you don't have them. And notice in here, pay is one of them. Think about pay. This is kind of the opposite of Taylor. If you get a raise at work, you feel pretty good about yourself. You're happy. But think about it 6 months later. And you think, hey, I'm worth it. I deserve this. And 6 months after that, you're going to say, hey, I'm worth more. So it's not really a long-term thing. It's maybe a short-term drug. But Hertzberg categorizes that and working conditions and policies and things like that as hygiene factors. If you don't have them, you're dissatisfied. So what are motivation factors? The work itself, achievements, recognition. Think of these are the kinds of things that motivate people. And think if you're a manager. Right? These are some of these things you can give to people, and they cost little or nothing. Recognition, responsible work, ability to advance and grow. These are things you should do anyway as a good manager. All right, so Hertzberg's two-factor theory. That's a good one to know.